Most people still believe you need family money or powerful connections to build serious wealth. Yet Levi Strauss stepped off a ship in 1853 with almost nothing in his pocket and no famous backers. On Money Hacks USA, we keep money simple, no fluff, no jargon. His story shows how spotting real customer pain in everyday work can turn modest beginnings into lasting fortune. Born in Bavaria in 1829 to a Jewish family already in dry goods, young Levi watched his father die early and learned trade from relatives. When gold fever hit California, he sailed from New York to San Francisco carrying bolts of canvas and clothing his brothers had shipped ahead. The city was raw, muddy, and full of miners who tore through pants faster than anyone could replace them. Instead of chasing gold himself, he sold supplies, learning which fabrics held up under brutal labor. That single decision to serve the overlooked needs of working men set the foundation for an empire that still exists today. Over the next segments, you will see how one practical observation about durable clothing grew into a global brand, and what that teaches anyone starting with limited resources. Levi Strauss grew up in a modest household in Buttenheim, Bavaria, where his family sold household goods door to door. After his father passed away, the family faced pressure to find new opportunities, so Levi and two older brothers headed for America in the late 1840s. They settled in New York and opened a dry goods business selling cloth, thread, and clothing to local merchants. Levi spent long days learning inventory, customer preferences, and the value of reliable suppliers. When news of gold strikes reached the East Coast, he volunteered to take goods west, arriving in San Francisco in March 1853. The city was little more than tents and wooden shacks perched on steep hills. Miners needed tough work clothes that would not rip after a single shift in the diggings. Levi noticed that ordinary cotton pants wore out quickly in the rocky terrain and began experimenting with heavier materials he had brought from New York. He sold canvas originally meant for tents and wagon covers, then switched to a sturdy French fabric called serge de Nimes, later known as denim. These early sales proved there was steady demand for practical clothing among laborers who had cash from gold but little time to shop for quality. The first years in San Francisco tested Levi constantly. Competition among merchants was fierce, and many suppliers failed when shipments arrived damaged or late. Levi kept overhead low by operating from a small storefront and personally delivering goods to mining camps. He learned that miners preferred dark indigo dye because it hid dirt and stains better than lighter fabrics. Still, sales remained modest until he found a way to make pants last longer than anything else on the market. Without that improvement, the business might have stayed a small dry goods operation. Levi also navigated anti-immigrant sentiment and the challenges of running a Jewish-owned firm in a rough frontier town. He focused on building trust through consistent quality rather than flashy advertising. Every bolt of cloth that held up under hard use brought repeat customers and word-of-mouth referrals. Those lean years taught him to watch workers closely and listen to their complaints about clothing instead of guessing what they wanted. In 1872, a Reno tailor named Jacob Davis wrote to Levi about an idea that would change everything. Davis had been reinforcing pants with copper rivets at the stress points where miners carried tools. The rivets stopped seams from tearing, and the pants became legendary for toughness. Davis lacked money to patent the invention, so he offered to partner with Levi, who had the capital and distribution network. Levi quickly filed the patent in both their names and began producing the riveted waist overalls in San Francisco. Production started small with a handful of seamstresses, but demand exploded as cowboys, railroad workers, and farmers discovered the durable pants. This single collaboration turned a local supplier into a manufacturer with a unique product no one else could legally copy for years. Levi invested profits back into larger facilities and reliable dye sources, locking in the indigo color that became the brand signature. The turning point proved that protecting a practical innovation with legal steps and scaling through existing customer relationships could multiply a small business many times over. By the 1880s, Levi Strauss & Company employed hundreds of workers and shipped jeans across the western states. Levi opened a larger factory on Valencia Street and later moved operations to bigger buildings to keep up with orders. He introduced the leather patch with the image of two horses pulling apart a pair of jeans to prove their strength, a marketing touch that still appears on the product today. Sales grew steadily as the pants earned a reputation for lasting through years of rough use. Levi stayed hands-on, visiting stores and listening to feedback from customers who worked in logging camps and cattle drives. He expanded the line to include jackets and other workwear while keeping the core focus on durable denim. The company survived economic dips by maintaining strict quality standards that kept loyal buyers returning even when cheaper alternatives appeared. This period showed how consistent product performance and direct customer contact can create steady growth without needing outside investors. Levi Strauss lived until 1902 and guided the company through its transformation into a national name. After his death, the business passed to four nephews who continued expanding factories and distribution. The original riveted jeans became standard issue for generations of American workers and later crossed into mainstream fashion. The company opened offices in Europe and Asia while protecting its trademarks against imitators. Profits funded civic projects in San Francisco, including donations to orphanages and disaster relief after the 1906 earthquake. The empire grew because Levi had insisted on vertical control of fabric, manufacturing, and sales rather than licensing the name early. That discipline kept quality high and brand recognition strong long after the founder was gone. Today, the company remains privately held by descendants, a rare outcome for a business that began with one immigrant selling canvas on muddy streets. Levi Strauss showed that real wealth often comes from solving a painful problem for people who already have money to spend, rather than chasing trendy ideas or waiting for perfect conditions. He arrived with limited resources, yet noticed miners destroying ordinary pants, and acted on that observation with a simple improvement and a patent. The same principle applies today. Study what frustrates your customers most and protect any useful fix you create. Subscribe to Money Hacks USA for more stories that turn history into practical money moves you can use. An investment in knowledge pays the best interest. Benjamin Franklin.